Hello, my name is PPCC. Once again, we are playing some close combat Panthers in the fog. Inside this particular turn, you'll see that the enemy's infantry brigade, not company, but brigade, has been moved back into their supply point. The other thing that you'll notice is that their forces are actually cut out from supply, our troops are mainly at relatively good levels of fuel. And what I'm going to do is attack this enemy here. And I think over here, yep, I checked the fuel and ammo of the different units. You'll see that the companies inside the middle of the map are at no fuel and no ammo. So their guns would be relatively short on ammunition. Vehicles are immobilized. So inside this turn, we have a pretty easy battle ahead of ourselves, and it is the end of the game. I figured that we actually have a surprisingly large amount of tanks left for our usage. So bear in mind that this is a historical scenario. It's meant to simulate the second day of the operation and all of that. But what I essentially did was just say, kind of screw it. Let's just fill up our slots with like infantry and support units, and just kind of roll up the enemy with a whole bunch of Panthers. So a little while later, that's pretty much exactly what I'm going to do, is just bring up Panthers with a little bit of infantry for scouting, and you'll see that we're on top of this ridge here on a relatively simple map, and our tanks begin moving out. You see that we already smoked one tank that I didn't catch on film. Oh, never mind, we actually got two tanks that I didn't, I essentially just skipped right here, and you see that our forces are moving out. So a little bit of close combat going on at this little house place. We're taking fire from that building just across the road. I've got two of my security infantry forces. They're really not that valuable. Up and I'm just trying to get inside that building. And here's the fun part, trying to get all of our tanks throughout this like little narrow gap safely. In all honesty, this first battle doesn't really say much. I mean, we've already destroyed the enemy on pretty much all fronts. This particular infantry brigade is spread out. It has to cover this whole entire map, which is a lot of territory. So chances are is that there isn't going to be quite a lot of gameplay. I'm going to just kind of finish up by taking out this house, and then I think I'll cut until... Oh yes, we lost a Panther. I forgot about that too. And I'll just cut to the second battle and third battle, because this one, it really isn't all that much. We didn't really kill many things, and the enemy didn't really kill many things. And we finally took that little point without any tanks, which, to my amazement, actually did happen. Tanks in this game are really helpful with assaulting things. Infantry are, well, like the saying goes, really just meant to hold ground. Well, actually, there's a small amount of gameplay left on this map that I should probably talk about. Because we've essentially broken through the enemy's lines, all there is just minor resistance here and there. So you'll see that I've been advancing my Panthers throughout this village, while it is just relatively fairly undefended. I mean, you'll see that there's one or two infantry bodies here and there. And that's just kind of that. I'm gonna speed up this little portion, so until then. Alright, well, inside this little portion you see just more of the same really. Normally I wouldn't really advance my tanks through all of these buildings unprepared, but since I figured that it's the end of the scenario and chances are is that the enemy doesn't really have much left, I just kind of moved it forward. You'll see that I engage a house here. Once again, this isn't at full speed, but yeah, I noticed that there were one or two little pockets of enemy resistance, but apart from that, everything went nice and smooth. And you'll see that the explosions inside the game look like they're meant to be played at a higher speed than what the game actually runs at. That's just kind of a little bit of miscellaneous information. And we're just cleaning up the field right here. Oops. Another Panther down. Oh well. I always like it when the songs are sped up like that. I find it's kind of unique, kind of fun. I believe this battle actually happens back on Mortain. I believe you'll see that I believe from the last episode, I think we got one tank loss, so we're kind of down one tank, but it looks like we have a few spares. In the grand scenario, I mean the grand scenario is like, I think about 2 weeks. I'm not necessarily sure about that, but it's about 2 weeks, and all of the days are of course divided into like 4 chunks, so it's quite a little bit of turns. If we were playing on that, chances are is that we probably would have suffered quite a lot more casualties, or our tank losses would be actually quite heavy right now, because from what I can tell, there aren't actually any reinforcements inside this particular game. I know that inside the longest day in the previous combat mission or close combat games, there was, but from what I'm interpreting from the manual and from what I'm seeing, it looks like the only way you can replenish your troops is if you disband, as in remove a battle group off the map to essentially use as reinforcements. So that's kind of that. I mean, I guess it fits the period for the German player, but for the Allied player, I'm not necessarily sure. I mean, it could be the same, and it most likely is the same. But I think that the United States should have some sort of production bonus where they get a lot more people, but they're less higher trained. Of course, when you're trying to balance the game, those things will be rather important, so you have to forgo some of the realism for a little bit of flavor in the gameplay. So right here you'll see that the allied player or the AI player is trying to take the offensive units, moving quite a lot of units in plain view up here into the orchard, or what I assume is an orchard, trying to move forward. I realized that our HQ unit was here, and actually it's taken out by artillery, but you noticed that the HQ unit was actually dwindling. It used to be 4 troopers, and now it's only 2. Well, now it's 0, of course. But it looks like the AI is really akin to trying to move up from that particular point. We're doomed! Oh no. But overall, this battle was fairly easy, simply because the troops on the field were actually out of supply. You'll notice that they didn't bring up tanks this time. I didn't necessarily say anything because I just actually noticed that right now. They didn't bring up any tanks. It's all infantry on the map. And that little mortar barrage on our HQ was the only mortar barrage to have happened inside this scenario, inside this battle, I believe. So they're out of supplies. I mean, they have tons of men over there. They're all surrounded, and they're trying to make a push up. They're still using the same routes. I mean, I would like to see the AI do something a little bit different by, say, going up the ravine to the north, staying on their own side of the river, and maybe trying to flank me from the north side of the map, or taking the low route and sticking to the bottom of the map. Given a little bit of time, they tried to move up to take the positions on the hedgerows, and of course cross the bridge. Yeah, they were fairly effectively stopped. I mean, there really isn't much action going on at this point inside the scenario. I figured to just kind of finish up the scenario or battle, we might as well try out the Air Force thing on some infantry, so I noticed that there was a big blob here, so I called down one plane, and you're gonna be about to see what happens. So that was fairly effective against the infantry. I mean, there's various different units or different types of planes really. So that was just one flavor of airdrop, and now we're going to move on to the next map in our rotation, which is Hill 134. So we've taken most of the map right now. We're simply just going to finish up, really just cleaning up whatever is left, and I figured that there's a huge plateau on the side of the map. There's a huge cliff, so enemy forces are probably beneath the cliff, or just behind it, below it, whatever, just in a fairly bad place. So I just kind of figured I might as well just do a broad front advance, leave a few units to cover our rears, because you'll see that there are some dark places on your map, and security forces are important. So I don't want they getting a jump on us from behind, because those victory locations still do count, and I'd like to end the game on as high of a score as possible, right? And you'll see that AT gun just drop immediately due to that MG fire. AT guns are, like I said, are good if they're hidden, but if they're out inside the open, they'll die really, really fast. Overall, in retrospect, this battle doesn't have a lot of action, so what I'm going to do is actually fast forward this. If you'd like to see more combat mission, I could do a combat mission, the longest day series. The series has always been great for mods, so I could put up a vote video if you'd like. If you would like to see that, please just comment on it below and like the video, of course. But for now, what I'm going to do is just fast forward the video, so you'll be able to see the rest of the battle in fast forwarded time. So I'll see you until then. So at this point, what I tried to do is just move infantry from the top here into the middle of the map, get this one stug to roll up on the infantry here, and I tried to move up some infantry, but they aren't very good. The stug, the map is actually simulated so that it does have height, in the sense that your tanks can't lower the gun low enough to shoot them underneath, even though it looks like they can. From this perspective, for some reason, this is like this road right here is a little ramp. Yeah, you see that the MG is firing, but the cannon is it says steep angle, and then it can't actually go down. So that was a major problem, and I tried to solve it by moving the tank forward, but it didn't really do much. And you'll see that our infantry are taking a little bit of fire. No, during this time, I heard a lot of shots coming from this direction, from the north, and it turns out that there was quite a lot of troops there. The tank's pathfinding wanted it to drive down this ramp right here. I don't know why it couldn't. I mean, from the map, from that point of view, it looked like it was just a road pretty much, but I guess not. I suppose that trees really covered up or what it really was. So that's kind of that. I mean, you can disable the trees if you'd like. You don't have to see them. You can abstract them. It is an option inside the game, but I personally like to keep them. And back over here, we actually figure out that the Allied mortars in HQ is actually on top of this cliff, so we can just kind of fight them there. Over here, I really want to get this stuff going. It's just bear in mind that while I'm playing this, it was in regular speed, so it was a fairly lengthy process, seeing that tank always gets stuck up on trees and on edges and stuff like that. So in this last little bit, we finally win, and we actually complete the scenario with a excuse me, a decisive victory. And inside the campaign, we our casualties when compared to the Americans are very, very low. However, this is only one day in a grand campaign consisting of 2 weeks, so it doesn't really say all that much. So, like I said earlier inside the video, if you'd like to see more of this game or some other close combat game inside the series, please post a comment, and if you've enjoyed this playthrough, please like the video and subscribe. I will read the comments, and I'll get back to you with another series sometime soon. Until then, bye-bye.